remember in this class, you guys have to take notes because you're not going to obviously remember everything I say. The brain only retains, I don't remember the percentage because I forgot. So you want to write it down because I'm teaching on stewardship. And you need to be a good steward of the resources that God gives us or I give you, and we'll go from there. So you guys are all prayed up. We're good. Just a review. What is stewardship? What does that mean? I know we had it 2 weeks ago. What is it? Good. Minister of things, stuff, resources. Good. An administrator. A what? Time. Okay. What is it? Everything we have, but what's the definition of steward? So we have administrator and being in charge of. Where are your notes from last time? You're responsible for. Good. You're good. There's 2 more definitions in there. Manager. Yeah, it's all coming from Lee. Is she the only one in the class? Come on, guys. Do you have your notes from last time? Huh? Somewhere. It's a keeper. You're also a keeper. Where God, where we don't own, He just entrusts us with things. Good. Oh, yay. Thank you, Phil. Okay, so one quote I think I had the last time, which is very pertinent for today too, because we're going to talk about stewardship of time. No one knows the day nor the hour. The very shoes we tie in the morning can be untied by a funeral director that night. It's a reality. It's a reality. So we're going to make the most of the time that we're here on earth. So stewardship of time. Revelation 21:6. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, is what it says. God is time, which I think is just so awesome. And that is indefinite. It's eternal. It goes from one end of the timeline to the next and just goes on forever and ever. And that's who he is. Time belongs to God because everything belongs to Him. However, He has given us time to steward. So the definition of a steward with time involved, we're to be keepers of time, a person put in charge of time, an administrator of time, one responsible for time, a manager of time, one who is entrusted with another's time. And that can be God or somebody else. God has given us how much time? What's that? How much time? 60 minutes. What's that? Oh, you're talking, okay, years. Okay, so He's given us years from birth to death. Break that down. 24 hours a day. Okay. So we have 24 hours, 60 minutes in each hour and 60 seconds in each minute. But when we talk about just 24 hours, because most of us think in time of the 24 hours, from the time we wake up to the time we go to sleep, and then you have that time that we're resting. We're entrusted with those 24 hours. Even though to God it's indefinite, it doesn't make any difference. It says a day is like 1,000 to the Lord. But we have 24 to manage. And we will manage it whether we're good stewards or bad stewards, because we're in that time frame. We can't get away from that. So what we do with the time is what becomes important. What we do with the time helps us to see whether we're good stewards of that or bad stewards of that. So what I love about stewardship is you may not be gifted in certain areas, or you may have a lack in certain areas. But when it comes to stewardship, it's something that we can learn. which is, praise God, we can all do this. If you're terrible at a certain area of stewardship, you can learn it. Because it's very practical. Now, you have the heart part, which last time that we met, a lot of scripture verses, just so you have the understanding of where we are in respect to God who owns everything, us being co-heirs of that, of everything, and then how he's entrusted us and we become a steward. So if you realize, wow, I'm not such a good steward in certain areas, you're not doomed. There's hope, because we can all learn how to be good stewards. And that's what this class is about. So it's a lot of practical stuff that goes along with it that you can apply step by step and become a good steward. So a good steward of time. We are called to be good stewards of God's time, which is the 24 hours. Remember, God is not a God of chaos. There's a quote, in fact, this morning, and I didn't write it down, and I don't quite remember it, but you have three different kinds of people. You have people that say, what happened? You have somebody else that says, let's see, there's what happened, there's waiting for something to happen, and the others who make it happen, okay? That can be a lot in time, too. Some people just wait, and there's a lot of waste that goes on. Some people wonder what happened because they're just living a chaotic life, and the other people are making things happen because they're good stewards of that time, okay? So God's a God of chaos, so he doesn't want us to be the ones and waiting to see what happens or wondering what the heck happened that day, all right? He wants us to be able to be ones that manage that time. He is the great one who has no chaos. And from the beginning of time, when he said he is Alpha, and he began creation in Genesis 1:1, it wasn't done in a chaotic form. There was obviously thought that went into it, purpose that went into it, and order. So when he did light, he didn't do the plants first because the plants would die because they'd have to have light. And they'd also have to have water. So he made light first, then he made the heavens, the expanse, and the firmament with water along the way. Then he made the dry land, which went with the dirt, the grass, the trees, the herbs that were going to have seed to grow. He didn't make man before the plants because then we would have nothing to eat. He did not make the animals before because we would have nothing to eat. Although man at that time did not eat animals until after the sin took place, and that was the first sacrifice that took place, the shedding of blood, and then animal consumption was done. Before that, Adam and Eve only ate plants. So it was very organized, and it didn't just happen. On day 1, he had the plan to do such and such, and he did that. Day 2, he created the next thing, day 3, and on and on. And on the 7th day, he rested. So he's even had that where we have rest in our schedule. But I love the way he just orchestrated everything. Everything has a time, and that's in Ecclesiastes 3:1-8. And I'll read this. And you've heard this. People have written songs on this, but I just love it. To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to gain and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. And then 11, the first part says, he has made everything beautiful in its time. So in there's a time for everything, and there's a purpose under heaven. I just love those scripture verses. So when my kids were growing up and they didn't want to go to sleep or they didn't want to eat at that time, that kind of a thing, I said, God's designed us to rest. And this is the time he's done it. You know, and it was, you bring it right to the Bible. It's not that I want you to go to sleep just because I want to have some quiet time on my own. It's like, no, God's designed it. You need to have it and you're going to take it. Same with us as adults. Okay. At the judgment seat of Christ, we will have to give an account of our time since becoming a Christian. Because remember the story in Matthew 25, where he was giving, the master gave the talents out, 5 talents, 2 talents, 1 talent. And then he came back and he says, I'm ready now. You will give an account of what I have given you. And of course, number 5 doubled, number 2 doubled, number 1 hid his talent, and he said, lazy and wicked servant. Okay, because he was not a good steward. We will give an account for what God has given us as far as our time. God says in Ephesians 5:15 to 17, redeem the time. Can someone turn to that, Ephesians 5:15 and 17, and then read that for us? That way I'm not flipping pages so fast. What does redeem mean? Why you guys are all, all turning to there. What does redeem mean? We've been redeemed, so what does that mean? What's that? To bring it to full restoration. Anything else? Another input? Bring it back to its initial point or creation. Yep. What's that? Be accountable for the time. No, redeem. Just a definition for redeem. When you redeem a coupon, what have you done? You're getting the value of it. Yes. And in redemption of salvation, Jesus Christ laid down his life to redeem us. So the value that he put on his life was to redeem us, to buy us back, to restore us into what we originally had. So it says, redeem the time. Okay, who's got Ephesians 5:15 to 17? You do? Okay, I'll give you the mic, because this is going to be filmed for the second year.
See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Therefore do not be unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is.
Good. So he says in there, and he doesn't give us a choice. It's one of those things that he wants us to do, is to redeem the time. Circumspectly means carefully. Okay? He wants us to redeem the time and be careful with the handling of it. And that's going to be on how we are as stewards. Psalm 89:47 to 48. Would somebody turn to that? Psalm 89:47 and 48.
Psalm 89:47. Remember what my span of life is, for what vanity you have created all the sons of men. What man can live and not see death? Can he deliver his soul from the power of Sheol? Salah. And Sheol is hell.
Everybody dies. So when I was talking about, you tie your shoes in the morning, and who's to know that a funeral director is not going to be tying them again at night. And it's very, very real. We cannot get away from death, and we don't know how long we have on this earth for whatever. I mean, you could be killed by an accident. You could find out you have cancer tomorrow. Now, of course, we're going to lay hands on you and pray for you because we're revivalists. However, our days are numbered. Okay, and they can be shortened by the foolishness of what we do. That's why it says walk circumspectly or carefully, because you never know what's going to happen. We also have a certain amount of time then that we want to make the most of our lives. One of the most life-changing things for me was to find out that I had cancer last year. So it was such a blessing in the sense on this is it. Now, because of everything we learned, I knew that my destiny had not been fulfilled. But in that, in my heart, I became more passionate about the time that I do have left. Whether it's 5 years, 20 years, I don't know. But I know that I'm on the other side of the 50. And then you start to realize the things that you haven't done yet in your life that you want to accomplish, whether it's your bucket list or it's your God dreams. Either way, you become a reality that this is it. I always wish that young people had this because they think they have so much time. And in reality, you may not. You may not. I know of 2 young people that died in their 20s just this past year. And they had no idea when they woke up that morning that they would both die in a car accident or the 4-wheeler accident that they had. You just don't know. But all of us are going to face it. We just don't know when it is. Colossians 4:5. Anybody have that? You have it, Bonnie?
Be wise in the way you act toward outsiders. Make the most of every opportunity.
Make the most of opportunity with the souls that God gives you around you. So you have time. All of us mix with somebody who does not know the Lord. Okay, what do? Take every opportunity. You want those divine appointments, but you also want to see, stick that little thermometer and see spiritual thermometer. Where are they in there? What is the Holy Spirit doing? What is God doing? So we take that opportunity. My little old lady Ann in the supermarket. It's taking that opportunity. Now I approach her and I say, "Hi, Ann." And my next plan is when I run into her in Wegmans, does she have time for a cup of coffee? Put my life on hold to see if I can have the opportunity to sit down and really talk with her. Okay? So every opportunity there. We're going to go, the next time we get together, which will be next week, so right before vacation, we're going to go step by step, hands-on, where you're going to have a schedule, several schedules in front of you, and we're going to walk step by step and filling that in on block time. Is there anybody in here that really uses a tracking system of your time right now? A day timer, a calendar, anything? Yes? What do you use, Allie? A paper calendar like you hang on the wall, so it's blocked with each day? Okay. And what do you put on there? Because you can't fit everything you put on there in. Okay. All right, good. Anybody else have anything? No. So you guys, this is great. We're going to start from the beginning. Okay. Okay. Yeah. That's good. Because this is one of the things on here is to write down what stole your day. It just went by. Yep. I want to show you 3 different. When I started out, what I'm going to show you next week is blocking out time. Was not born with a day timer in my hand. I functioned through college by writing things in a little notebook of when my assignments were due. I stuck needles in my little schedule for my classes, so I had that, so I wouldn't, miss anything. So I had those kind of things, but I didn't have anything where I actually carried around and said, this is my day, this is what I'm going to follow. I did not learn that until I became a self-employed entrepreneur. And one of the training sessions was the block method. And this was just a way to get you started. So in reality, you can see what you're going to be doing in a 24-hour period. So you don't overlap different activities. You don't forget activities. You know how long it takes you to travel somewhere, so you block out that time. That's what we're going to be doing. So then in reality, you can say, okay, I'm going to take free time at such and such a time during the week. When I first started, I only had one day that I had any free time, and that was between the morning service and the evening service on Sunday. That was it. But that was all I had. I was in Bible college, so I can relate to what you guys do. You have homework, you have jobs, you spend a morning in here, and I had the same kind of a schedule. But so we blocked out everything. And after my first semester, I got married, and so now I had a husband. But in reality, now I had more laundry, I had more cleaning up to do, I had to have time with my husband. And so I went from one level as a single gal to a married person, and it's very different. But the only free time I had was then. And so I learned that was it. That was my only time that I had free time. Now, what I did with that free time was, we just called it family time, and he and I had it together. So what I want to do is so you can actually see what time you have to study, and therefore your assignments should be done in a timely manner. If you don't have a job, where you have time to have a job if you're looking for one. If you have doctor's appointments that you do regularly, well, when can I schedule those things? You don't want to schedule it while you're supposed to be in class or while you're doing something else. So you have something that you can work off to keep yourself organized with your time. So when you get up in the morning, you know what you have to do in that day, that you do have a life. And then when you go to bed, whatever you didn't get done for whatever unseen thing, you know how to put it in the next day. So I want to show you a couple of them. I started out with the block one, which is what I'm going to be showing you, but I just wanted to show you some simple to complicated ones. This is the one I used here in the church office. This would be more towards the 6 most important things list. So let me show you that, and you're going to take notes on what's the 6 most important things list. So with this calendar, it's just basically a day. There's no hours. It's just where you can actually make a list. And then when I accomplish what I've done, I just check it off because it helps me to feel like I'm accomplishing something. I am definitely reward oriented, so I reward myself with a little check mark. This is one of the simplest ways, other than the block method, of keeping track on what you have to do in a day. And the reason I keep this kind of thing here at the church office is because I have to be very flexible. The 6 most important things, let me get rid of my Bible because I don't think I need that anymore. The 6 most important things is what would work for this kind of a schedule. This is something that you write on a daily basis. You can do it the night before, so you're ready for that day. Or like, for instance, I have revival group on Wednesdays, and after I check that off for today, I will actually go to next week and put in revival group. It seems silly, but I have it then because I know that next week I know what I'm doing. So when people say, can I meet with you such and such time, I automatically know, even though I do this the same time every week. Okay, actually next week we're changing it, but I put it on there. I just transfer. Okay, I did CD labels. I put that in for next week, CD labels, because that's something I do every week. But then I'm flexible because, you know, I'll be asked to do something, and that's going to be a little bit more of a project, and so I'll break that down to different days, or I'll transfer it each day that I go along. So the most important thing is just 6 most important things that you need to accomplish. Well, what I do, yes and no. When you have the heart of wanting to be a good steward, you want to have it affect you in all of your life. If you're generally a bad steward of your time at home, it's something you'll have to learn then on the job because it's going to be required. You're going to have to up the standard or you're not going to have that job very long. What you learn then on the job can be applied at home, and I'm going to show you my own personal calendar. I do not take this out of the office. It's here all the time, and it's just 6 most important things list. So I have that, and it's what you have to do then is 6 most important things that you have to cover. So when I get Sunday ready, for instance, on Thursday, I have at least 3 things that have to be done that day in order not to work on Friday and Saturday, okay? That gets this church ready in my area. Okay, so those things would be on there. What you have to do with your 6 most important things list is ask yourself a question. Can I accomplish all this in one day? Okay, you've got to be realistic. A lot of times if I have a heavy project, I will do all the stupid things first. And what I mean by stupid things is every Monday I have to look at the mail, I have to answer all the emails, and those are my priority is my email, because people are waiting for me to respond. I've got to go through the mail because we have bills and that kind of thing to pay, and all that comes through my hands. And then I have visitor letters. So I put the information into Servant Keeper and write them a letter, and that's got to go in the mail by 2. Then I do all the little stupid stuff first, and then when I have a project, then I'll dive into the project. Okay? Hold on one second. So we're going to pack food at 11:30. So ask yourself, can I accomplish all this in one day? And be very practical in your planning. With the 6 most important things list, I usually put my first priority or the stupid stuff. You can do it however way you want to do it. I like to get all the quick stuff done first and then go into my project. Because if I don't get my project done that day, then it comes up on the top of the list for the next day. So I just kind of keep moving it over. Or if I'm doing stages of it, and that's my 6 most important things list. If you know you have a meeting on Friday, for instance, you put it on the Friday. But generally how that works is you're just doing your list every single night. So what I actually do is before I leave on any given day here at work, whatever I didn't accomplish goes on to the next day. Or when that's a real full day, I better put that on Thursday. So I shift that over. Okay, so I'm not forgetting anything. For instance, we had something that we had to order. We can't order it today, and Tim says, check with me on Monday. I went right to Monday, and I put it right there because I don't want to forget it. So that's one of my things that I have to remember. So that's the 6 most important things list. I also have this kind of calendar. So when you're looking, and I just got this at, I think this was a Staples, then you've got your block calendar where you can put your big activities. And so the big activities, you know, if I'm doing, appointments, well, this is the whole church thing. But so then what is we have baby dedication on a certain Sunday. So when I go all the way now, baby dedication's February. So the week before, I know I need to do the paperwork for the baby dedication. A month out of that, I've got to do the advertising. And so I've already written those things in here so I don't forget. Okay, so you have that. That's one calendar. Then I have this is my one, and I kind of change every year depending on what I've been doing. This is my personal one. This I don't like as much as the next one that I got, but it also has each month the block out period. So I can see, this is really nice and quick reference. Somebody wants to invite us to dinner. I flip to the month and I say, yes, that Friday is open, and I put them in, okay? Then I flip over to where that week is, and I'll put it in that week, and I'll write it in there. Let me show you. Oh, God, this is such a mess. This is my whole life. If I lost this, I wouldn't wake up in the morning because there wouldn't be any reason to. No, I carry this everywhere I go. This is my personal calendar. So I want to show you, this one is a little less detailed, a little bit more detailed, one step up. It's got the hours of the day. I have the whole week at a glance on this one. And so I put in if I have an appointment, if I have GT, I write from 8 and I put a little arrow to 3 o'clock, and that's where I am from 8 to 3. If I've got to stop afterwards to go to the post office or something, I put every errand in there, even the stuff I do every week, like laundry. I actually write in there laundry. I actually write in there house cleaning. If you look on Fridays, my day off is Friday. I do my food shopping, the cleaning, the water, the plants. I have every stupid thing that I have to do on there because I like to check it off. And then I don't forget to water the plants and they all die. So that's one step up from the last one. Okay, this is a little bit more detailed. Yeah, so what I like about this, though, is I can look, and it's kind of semi what the block system is what we're going to learn, but it's kind of like in a book where I can carry this wherever I go. And let's say for a doctor's appointment or a hair appointment, I put the business card and I use a, there you go. I paper clip it in for that week, so I have all that information there. So in case I have to change something, I have the phone number right there. If I get a flat tire on the way to the doctor's appointment, I have the phone number right there. So everything's in here. And then I sit down every Sunday night, and I open my calendar, and I do the very next week. And I write in every week, this is when I do my laundry, this is when I do my ironing, this is when I do my nails, and then I can see I have some of my husband's stuff in here too. You know, he goes to Renovation House once a month. I have that on here so I can remind him to go to Renovation House because he's not as good as I am with these kind of things. You know, he's got a RUSA party. All of it is in here, the whole thing. And I carry it so anybody can say, hey, can we get together? Now, my 2014, this is the one I've always generally used, and I kind of tried that this year. It worked okay, but I do like this format where you have your month. It's the block thing, but then right after that month, it starts your days, okay? On this one, it didn't. It had all my months, and then it had all my days. I had to buy 2 portions, and I decided I didn't like that. This is much more detailed. You don't have the week at a glance. My life is kind of a little bit more complicated, so I want more information on here. I want to see my whole day. I may waste a lot more paper on days that all I end up is being here, but and it has, 2 days at a time, and every hour and every half hour is there. In fact, I have a paper clip here, so what are we doing on this week? Oh, no. Oh, see? I have animal vaccinations. I write all that stuff in when it comes in. I don't have anything written, but you see every hour and half hour. So it's a lot more detailed. And I still have my paper clip. I already have paper clips in there. I usually get my next year's calendar in October, because I'm starting to write things down, okay? People are already starting to ask me. So this is how you can get, you kind of up it as you go. So we're going to start the block system, which is actually very similar. The block system that we're going to use next week has time frames in it. So you can actually block down, you can color, I'll show you how to do all that. So you have something to start with. And when I had that, when I very first started with, I did it, I colored in different things. Pink was my Mary Kay time, the times that I could actually work Mary Kay. Green was when I had another job. I had blue, I think, when I was in Bible school. And then I had, I think yellow was my private time. So I blocked it out, and then I would fill it in as I went along each week. Yes? Each week, it takes me 5 minutes because I keep up with it as I go along. I make a doctor's appointment, I write it right in my calendar. It took that and there's the card. I'm done. I go to the dentist. I make my appointment 6 months. I got my card. I got it, put it right in there. So my weekly thing is Sunday night, and I do it right before I go to bed. It takes me 5 minutes. I get rid of all the little trash from, the week before. I have my stuff paper clipped in there. I look, and I know I have a feel for my whole week on what's happening, where I'm going to have free time that I can fill in or whatever. I already know, but I write it all in, and it takes really literally 5 minutes. Now, it's going to take longer, I think, when you're first starting out because you're not used to it. I don't change. I have a laundry day is the same every day unless a holiday falls on it, like Thanksgiving. My laundry day is Thursday. Well, I had to up that a few days because of Thanksgiving. But it's just, no, it doesn't take any time at all. Yeah. I keep everything in there because of a deviation sometimes. I have forgotten to water the plants because I run around and get busy, and because I don't like to have a lot of things in my brain. I want my brain space to be used for something else. Once I write it down, it really is out of my brain, but I can pop it up into my memory because I'm very visual. So that's something for me. Some people are very audio. I am a visual learner, visual doer. So when I read the Word of God, it helps me because I've seen it, and it helps me to remember it. When I've written it down, like my calendar, it's now more in there than before. That's why I highlight when I read books, because it's visual. So I'm just a visual person. So it seems stupid, but I found that it helps me really, really to keep track. If you have I don't like to use a label, but ADD personality, shiny, or something comes up and you just get involved. Okay, I have a daughter that's like that. I send her off, okay, now it's time really now to clean your room. I mean, this is it, And so, okay, now it becomes a project, because it really needs some help. This room is a project. So she'll open up the bag that she put all her important papers in, and so she's been tearing up some other things and putting her clothes away. She comes across the bag. Oh my gosh, now the papers are all over the rug, all getting categorized, and now she's on a whole different project because shiny came in. And before you know, it's time to go to work. Now the papers are all over the floor. The clothes are still out. The room looks worse than it did before because she was trying to organize. And that's what I mean by stupid stuff. So it keeps you on track. So when it comes to Friday, I do all the stupid stuff first. I sit down, I do my menu, I water the plants, so I can leave the house, do my food shopping, come home, and now I have 4 hours to clean my house. If I reverse it, I get in trouble because now I might linger, I might find something to do, and oh my gosh, we have dinner guests coming, I haven't bought the food. So it's chaotic. And then I have to say, well, God didn't create the animals before the plants. So I know that I can't expect to feed people and have a dinner ready for them at 6 if I haven't gone food shopping. So I know I have to do that. And if I don't get all the cleaning done, I can put that on my 6 most important things list on Saturday. You see what I mean? And I know I'm going to finish it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, some people think it's silly, like you do the same thing all the time. But ever since I learned the block method, I have been doing the same. I swear, my kids can ask you, I have done laundry on Sunday night and Thursday ever since they were born, I think. It's such a weird thing. And but it helps to be organized. So let's budgeting time. We're going to move on. Budgeting time. This was a quote from someone. I don't know where I got it, but it says, "Be possessed with a vision, and the vision will master your time." In other words, you will do anything to get that thing done. You want something done, you want to do something, you're going to find every way to do it. Whether it's going out with your friends, and now you fly doing all the stuff you have to do just so you can go out with your friends. Sure. Be possessed with a vision, and the vision will master your time. You will do anything to get that thing done. So what is your vision or passion? It's going to show up on what you do with your time. Or what would you do with your time is really showing where your heart is and what your passion is. So if you spend, 2 hours on Facebook, that's obviously got to be a passion for you. Same with watching movies or Netflix, whatever. It's going to show where your heart is. Or a distraction. Yeah, it can be. I mean, if you have a personality where the TV, and I know when I'm alone, I like to have noise in my house because everybody's so noisy in my family. When everybody vacates, I'm like, I'm gonna have a meltdown, and so I turn on the TV, and I can hear it. But then you're distracted with, you run in, and you want to see that part. And before you know it, you've stopped doing what you're doing. So that doesn't always help. You have to know, what your weakness is. So what is your vision or passion? Obviously, our vision and our passion, or our passion should be the Lord, and our vision should be tied in there. And it's really interesting. One of the things that we have as a household, this church house has a mission. And the mission is according to the vision that we have at this house. And so everything that we do at GT is to see that mission accomplished, that vision to come forth. We actually have a mission statement for our home, for the Michael John household. We wrote it out, and everything has to then be according to that. If it's not in that line, we need to renegotiate what we're doing with our lives. And we do that. We evaluate what are we doing? What are we really doing? Are we pursuing our passion to see the lost saved, or to disciple, or whatever, to have an open home? Why are people not just dropping by our home? What do we need to change because that's our mission? Okay? So that's what I mean by your passion. So schedule according to that. One of the things we have to do is learn from yesterday. You need to become an expert thinker by learning from yesterday. What stole your time yesterday? And make a list. You cannot learn unless you're evaluating yourself. So when you go to bed tonight, because we're going to be doing block time, you've got to really understand, what are you doing with the 24 hours that God has you to steward? So tonight when you go to bed, what stole my time today? Where did I get off track? And I'm not talking about you need to be flexible and a friend needs your help and you've gone over to minister to them, okay? If you didn't get other things accomplished, when can you accomplish those things? Or you can say, that did steal my time. Because there's some practicalities too. Some people can suck your time out, where they need to be turning a lot more to God than to you. So you have to say, what am I doing with that? So write down, what stole my time today? Because you'll learn a lot about yourself as a steward. Learn to negotiate distraction. And gosh, that can be anything. I have 3 girls in my household, so I can get distracted. And oh, Mom, do that tomorrow. Come out and see a movie with us, or go shopping with us. We'll help you tomorrow. And I already know, well, tomorrow you're working and you're doing this, and no one's going to be helping me. I have to then negotiate. Okay, today is not a good day for me, but I would love, this happened recently, I would love to go do the shopping thing. We need to have girl time, we need to have date time, So I went to my calendar, I said, can we do it on this Saturday? And everybody looked and like, yeah, we're all free. I said, let's do it. Put in the calendar. We had lunch. We went shopping. We did all this girl stuff. We had our talk. But if I had gone that day, when it was free, I would have been in chaos. My mind wouldn't have been there. I had to have things done because I do work and I do ministry at night. So I only have a certain amount of time of windows. So that day I was like, this is my free day. Let's do it then. So I negotiated that distraction. So you have to do that sometimes. When you are distracted, take time to observe how that distraction came about. Like I said, oh, I heard something on the TV, which is my background noise, and that distracted me. So I have to say, how did my distraction come about? I had the TV on. That's my first thing. I wouldn't have heard anything that distracted me. So now I turned it off. Okay, I need noise, turn on some praise music. Now I can sing, I can still do what I'm doing, I can enter in, which will take me into praying in tongues, which the Bible says pray continuously, and so now I'm just so happy. All right, but you need to learn how to do that. Okay, how did my distraction come about? All right, if I see something, I walk by, or like my daughter, oh, this bag, I need to go through it. Okay, oh, this bag, oh, it's important papers. Now she'll go to her 6 most important things list, find a time where she can deal with that bag. Because right now she needs to straighten up the room. That's part of the process, but that's going to take more time. So you negotiate, and then you schedule when you're going to do that bag. Okay? So that's very important. How did it come down? Quickly return from the distraction back to the plan. And how I do that is I write it down. Okay, this needs to be done. Whoa, that curtain is really collected a lot of dust. So now I got to wash the curtains. I don't say, I got to wash the curtains now. Because once they get washed, they need to be ironed. Okay, so I don't have time for that. So I write it down on this such and such day. I will take care of that project. All right, that's how I do it. Now I go back to my plan. So don't get bogged down or discouraged. Okay, if you get discouraged, it means somewhere you're in chaos mode. So how can I get back on, MapQuest? It's just, what does it say when you've done the wrong turn? What's it say? Recalculating. That's all you're doing. You're recalculating. So don't get discouraged. Just recalculate. Okay? Be a steward. You're going to manage it. So I'm going to manage it. I'm going to put it on somewhere in my calendar or my 6 most important things list. All right? And so it doesn't get forgotten. Like I know on Monday, I got to check with Tim now to order this particular thing, so it's not forgotten. All right, but don't get bogged down in it. You cannot do everything. And like Ecclesiastes says, there's a season for everything. Season for everything. My Connect group last night, we were all talking about how much weight we've been gaining, and because we actually have a really good group. I mean, we all care about our physical stuff. So I said, let's not get discouraged. We looked at the calendar, and I think it's 3 weeks. We have 3 weeks left. And then we can go back to our normal living, So it takes away the discouragement. My husband wants to start his diet today. I'm like, why? You're going to be eating like crazy. Friday, we're going to a Christmas party. And then next Friday, we go to a Christmas party. And then it's Christmas. Why would you do that to yourself? Diet for, 5 days. I don't know. Not even that. No, it's 2 days until Friday. So, be discouraged. So Proverbs 11:1 talks about a false balance and an unjust weight. Anybody could turn to Proverbs 11:1. See if I can get there too. Somebody's got it? It says quick draw. Anybody got it? Yeah.
Proverbs 11:1. Dishonest scales are an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight.
An unbalanced lifestyle is an abomination to the Lord. We want to have a just weight. That is important to God. So we need a balanced perspective. We have the same 24 hours as everybody else. It's all a matter of stewardship, scheduling it, keeping it so our lives aren't chaotic. So you should not be balanced. You should not be in school for so many hours a week and then not do something else. You can't work 12 hours a day and never be having a prayer time. You can't go 3 weeks and then finally decide to make your laundry a project Because the only way you're going to get it done in a day is to have a trip to the laundromat so you can use several machines at one time. We don't want to be living like that, okay? So we want to have a balance. So what has God given you to steward other than time, and how do you put that into your time to steward it, to get everything that he has called you to do done? Okay, there's some non-negotiables. Right now, you guys are in a season of equipping, which means you need to be here from 8 to 12:30. This is your equipping time. That is a non-negotiable. So, and this has happened because we do have the open door policy at our home, and we've allowed people to call us at any time, anytime, anytime. And I get a call at 7 a.m., okay? Their life may be falling apart. It may not be. Most of the time, if they're calling me at 7 a.m., it is. So I hear a part of the story, and I said, you know, I have to leave for work, but let's pray, because I believe prayer can do a whole lot right there. We pray. Can I call you at 3 o'clock? Where can I reach you then? So now if it's life or death, you know, then it's a different story. Then, you know, I'm going to come in and say, hey, this is what took my time from you, okay? So from the people here, I've got to, you know, I'm stewarding their time, okay? I'm on their clock. But most of the time, it's not like that, and we can negotiate. We can negotiate. So I want to give them undivided attention, so I do that. Okay, that is perfect for going into next week. Next week, what we're going to talk about is we're going to do our block time. We're going to put everything on our schedule they can possibly think of so you can actually see in reality what your week looks like. And pretty much it should be the same. And then I'm going to also talk about free time, because the Bible is very, very specific about vacation and free time. Most of us think that, you know, God, you know, sucked up all of our time and we should always be doing something. And but no, there are times of refreshing and rest in order to do what he's called us to do. Yes, Allie? You can bring whatever you want. I have sheets I've copied off that we're going to work off of. I'm going to give you each 3 sheets. One is so the one you can work in class. One is so you can make copies, so you can keep it going unless you end up, you know, doing one of, you know, a different way of doing it. And then other ones is in case you really botch it up and you're you know, type A personality and you can't stand a mistake or an erase and you have a meltdown if you do that like me. So I'd have to have a fresh sheet, you know, to redo it. So your one can be scratch copy, and your next one can be your good copy that you put up on the calendar, and the other one you make copies, so every Sunday night you can do a new one for that week, because you may be having a little bit of a different deviation in your schedule, and all is happy. Okay, so if you have one that you're working with and it's, you know, it accommodates for what we're going to be talking about, you can do that and use it. So it's good. A lot of people now today have their calendars on their iPhones or iPads. And I don't know if I don't have that. I have to have paper because I can, you know, people say, why don't you just do it on your phone? You have your phone all the time. Yeah, but I can't paper clip my doctor's appointment card on there. I can't, you know, these are the things I have to shop for somebody. I can't do that on there. So to me, it's useless. I'm a paper thing. This helps me. So however, you know, you guys work that. For Pastor Scott, for instance, on his, I can do that. I have what it is and how long it is, and then I have a memo with the person's phone number, where they're meeting them for lunch. Sometimes it's directions, who to talk to at the funeral home. I mean, I have everything right there, and he pops it up on his phone. So he's got everything. So what that takes is input. You got to put the input in there in order to have it. Where me, I just put my little card right underneath my paper clip and I have it that way. So whatever works for you. You know, Allie is total techie and she's got everything on there, you know, so that works for some people. I don't know about your calendar, but I know pretty much everything else. Yes? For each day. We're going to do Sunday through Saturday, so you can look at a whole week. Yeah, to organize, so you can start thinking, you know, what is a good day for me to do laundry? And what can I do while my laundry's in the washer? Is that a good day to clean at the same time? Because I'm home. Like Friday, people think I have a day off, and like, well, it's my domestic day. I manage and administrate my home. So I have everything on Friday, everything. And then Saturday, I also have another job. So and every Saturday morning, I have to go out and I clean offices, and so that's on there. So I like to know what I'm doing. What, did I answer your question? I had a brain blip. Yeah. Yep. That's how we do it in the church too. We have one on the computer and one that you guys can all look on the website, and it's what I put in there. Anything use of the building. Let's say you want to have a girls' night, and this is your home too, and you want to use the great room for a girls' night or a movie night. We have people in the church that do that all the time. And then you can go right on the website and see, oh, conference room is being used Monday and Tuesday from this time to this time. Oh, the great room is being used. And I won't put it's somebody's shower. I don't put any of that information because then they say, well, I was not invited. No, I just put that, the great room in the kitchen is being used in this time frame. So if you want to have a guys or girl day and you need that room, well, you know that weekend's not open for the church. Okay, and then you can pick another weekend, then you call me and say, hey, I'd like to use this room for such and such event, and then I can put that on the big calendar. So, we work off different things. I always have a paper copy of anything we put into the computer other than Pastor Scott's schedule, because if the computers drop out, we still need to know what's going on. So everything that's on the computer in our block calendar that you can access website is in my paper calendar here. Oh, yeah, I don't know. I know for visually that helps. It helps me. Okay, we need, this is what's happening.